Alocasia dragon scale. Customer had it. It was not doing well in her home. Dealt with some pretty catastrophic root rot here. So we are going to work her up and repot her and divide her, honestly, and get her back in tip-top shape. Let's bring it up nice and close so you can see what I'm doing here. She smells rotty. So we're just gonna get some of this dead tissue out of the way here. I find that if you think about plants the way you think about a person, right, coming from my healthcare background, the same thing goes for any infected tissue, right? We need to debride the wounds. The same thing goes with rot in plants. They need to be debrided. So we need to remove all the dead and decaying tissue, all the unhealthy tissue from the plant, because that tissue will continue to decompose, and that decomposition and infection can spread to healthy tissues that are still on the plant, right? So this is, if you didn't know, the reason that fungus gnat traps are yellow is because the pests are attracted to yellow leaves. That tells them that the plant is unhealthy and it's weak, and that's a good plant for them to come and start to infest. So yellow leaves on your plants are like big giant billboards telling the pests, hey, I'm sick, come here and attack me. All right, so this base is pretty raw. The bottom of it was rotted. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dip her butt here into a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon's a great antifungal, antibacterial agent. It's also a desiccant, which means that it pulls moisture out of the tissue that it contacts. So I'm gonna be using that cinnamon in the sense just to heal and callus over this wound on the plant before I pot her up, so we have less chance of having infection set back in. And here you have it, cinnamon. All right, so what we're not gonna do is coat the entire tissue that's healthy with this, because what this does is it sucks the moisture, or it's also hydrophobic, which means it repels the moisture. So we don't want to put this all over our roots tissues and the plant's tissues, because then we could be sucking the moisture and repelling the moisture from the healthy tissues that needs it. What we are going to do is take that raw sore and we're just going to put a little cap on it. All right? And there you have it. So we're going to set these babies up in a self-watering pot system with a wick. So you have the wick here that's going to go in the reservoir, and it's going to suck that moisture up into the pot. And we have the wick. The amount of wick that you have inside of your substrate is going to define how wet or dry the substrate will be. And I'm going to leave a little bit in there because alocasias don't mind being wet. So I'm going to leave a little bit more wick in there, so we can have a little bit more moisture. So you see it's running up and in. Now the leca does have capillary action to it, which means that it's going to continue to draw that moisture up in the pot towards the plant's roots to keep everything nice and moisturized and neutralized, nutrientalized. I'm making words up today. All right, so we're gonna place the plant in there. And we're just going to backfill with some more leca. All right, so here we are. Now this is the reservoir cup, so the pot sits on top of it. It's a tight fit. And a little spout thingy to make it easier to pour your nutrient solution in there. And again, this wick here is going to draw that moisture up. Okay. So here she is. So there's no questioning of when the plant needs to be watered. You can see when the water level gets low, and then you just top it back off.